guys, Cash Brown back again. Hope you're having a fantastic day or night, depending on where you are. So I was kind of scrolling through Twitter, as I like to do these days. It is the best place for insanity and really things to laugh at. But I came across this, and I watched maybe 30 seconds of it, and I wanted to make a video on it. Now, this is an interview between a former New York Times journalist, which is the guy on the left, and obviously I'm sure you guys would know the guy on the right is Tucker Carlson. So I don't know how insane this interview is going to go, but from the first 30 seconds, I can see a bit of a trend that you often see in videos like this. It's kind of like, I'm going to ask you a question, and then when you try to respond, I'm going to talk over you, because I don't actually want to know what the answer to the question is. I just want to make statements about you. And Tucker Carlson, he is the kind of guy who handles stuff like this well. So I am very interested to see where this goes, and I wanted to watch it with you guys. So that's what we're going to be doing for today's video. But before we do that, can I please ask that if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, which is my first big milestone. I'm so excited to get there, and I cannot do it without your help. So if you're considering subscribing, now is the perfect time. Otherwise, let's watch this, what I'm sure is going to be a very sane, rational debate.
Tucker, wow, nice closet.
And Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
And I'm glad you agreed to join us.
Someone just texted me and said you were pretty tough with Taylor Lorenz, which I was heartened to hear, but it's easy to hurt her feelings. So I hope you'll check your privilege.
I'm just hoping you'll let me ask questions and not steamroll me, because you're a professional and I'm not.
You're the top one, Ben.
But I have been watching your show a lot, and you spend a lot of time laughing about labels that are thrown at you. Racist, white supremacist, the most host of the most racist show in the history of cable television. Actually, I'd rather not ask you about the labels, but sort of give you an opportunity to talk about what you believe. And to begin with, do you believe white people are superior to other races?
Jesus.
No, of course not. And the funny thing is, that's
let me just stop on the yes/no question there, and just to put it a little differently before you respond, which is, do you think that white people have more of a claim on America?
Superior in any way.
That's so annoying.
Do you think that white people have some claim on America that people of other races don't?
Of course not. I mean, first of all, I'm a Christian, so I think God made everybody, and therefore everyone has equal value in his eyes. That's the essential value of every person is the same. But the idea that I harbor some sort of deep racial animus is I think there are a lot of criticisms you could level at me. I think sometimes I overstate the case, I get pissed, I can be very nasty. You've been on the receiving end of that. I know you can vouch for that. But the idea that if you were to look at my texts or listen to my personal conversations or read my mind, you would find no instance where I'm mad at black people. 100% of the people that I'm mad at are well-educated white liberals. In my mind, the sort of archetype of the person I don't like is a 38-year-old female white lawyer with a barren personal life. That's who yells at me on airplanes. And so I always say to people you're racist.
Okay, let me.
Actually, I'm not mad at black people. What are you talking about?
I'm sure that it's going to continue like this, and I know it's going to annoy me so much. If you're a journalist and you're really there to interview somebody and you're asking questions, and most people ask a question to know what the answer is, then you're going to let that person give an answer. I feel like that is the most disrespectful and frustrating thing in the world, when someone's talking and you actively try to talk over them. It's so frustrating. And I feel like anything that you're trying to, you can tell that he's pushing a narrative. He immediately comes in with white supremacist, you're a racist. These aren't questions, they're statements being kind of masked as a question. He doesn't care what Tucker Carlson's answer is. He's just trying to make statements to make Tucker Carlson look bad. And then when Tucker Carlson tries to give an answer, he either just cuts him off immediately or waits a little while and then cuts him off.
Let me show you, I think, why people react this way. I think we have a clip I just wanted to show you. Can you, Sydney, can you play that?
In political terms, this policy is called the Great Replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries.
So Tucker, what's a legacy American?
Someone born in America, right?
People who were born here, black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, people who are citizens, people who participated, generationally in our system. And a lot of them don't buy the program of the modern Democratic Party because it doesn't serve them. And so the center of the Democratic electoral strategy going forward, I'm not guessing, they talk about it constantly, you're a journalist, you must have noticed, is to bring in new people who will vote for them. Now that,
do you think...
Let me just finish, if you don't mind.
Let him finish.
This is not something that I made up or found on the internet. I don't even really go on the internet. This is something that Democrats, including, the architect of Obama's last victory, have talked about at great lengths in pieces, monographs on television. They've written books about it. So this is not like some crackpot Alex Jones degree.
When you talk about
this is the central strategy of the Democratic Party. So to be like, I can't believe you said that, I'm pulling them back to that.
You talked about generational investment.
How dare he try to cut Tucker off and then be like, Tucker, stop. Excuse me, Tucker. You're the one that's cutting him off. Not the other way around. He's trying to give you an answer to your question, and because it's not going the way you want it to, and I think that's why he's giving him just enough time to talk to see where exactly his response is going. And if it's not going to help the journalist make him look terrible, then he doesn't want to hear the answer, and he doesn't want us to hear the answer because we might then kind of side with Tucker Carlson. I have zero respect for journalists, and I do air quotations because this isn't journalism. I have zero respect for journalists that do stuff like this. Like, hey, let me ask you a question. Oh, hang on. No, you're not going to admit that you're a white supremacist? You're not going to admit that you're a white supremacist? Let me cut you off then because I don't care what you have to say. That's not journalism, and you're an ass. This is so frustrating.
You talked about generational investment. How many generations makes you a legacy American?
I'm just saying people who live here now, including immigrants.
Do you have any empathy? Do you have any empathy for somebody who sees that clip, somebody who's whose parents are from India, from China, who are Jewish, and say, "Wow, I don't think I just see that clip, and I don't really think this guy includes me in his vision of America."
Slow down. Okay. No, I don't have any, as you said, empathy for people.
Do you understand why they might think that?
Please let me, if you don't mind, if I could finish.
Yeah.
I have no empathy for people who derive their judgments about anything from 30-second clips on Media Matters. I do an hour live every single night. If you want to know what I think, I don't know that there's anyone who's more transparent about it than I am. Not all of my views are correct. Not all of them are attractive. You may laugh at some of them. You may be offended by others. But I'm very clear about what I think. I believe that people are not the sum total of their genetics. I say that constantly, and as a Christian, I really mean it. I actually buy the kind of Dr. Seuss, version of race understanding, which is judge a person by what he does, not by how he looks. I actually believe that. I grew up in Southern California in the 70s, and I say it constantly.
Shut up!
You do, and yet somehow, Tucker, I guess the thing, you have an hour every night, as you said. I want to move on to some other questions.
Okay, don't filibuster me.
You are misunderstood, perhaps, in your view a lot. Then, both by, as you said, kind of the New York Times, but also you keep having sort of explicit white supremacists who have on secret message boards who work for you, and you have to. I know this has been very painful for you in some cases.
I've never even met a white supremacist.
You have these folks. You have folks who have posted. You have a large number of people: Scott Greer, Blake Neff. I'm just curious why you've been sort of flypaper for these people on your staff.
You're not asking me a question.
That was the question. Why have you been flypaper for these racists?
I've never had a white supremacist work for me. I don't think I've ever talked to a white supremacist. Please let me finish.
And I don't want to fight about labels.
Hold on.
So He is the one that said, you have white supremacists working for you. Tucker Carlson says, I don't have any white supremacists working for me. He says, I don't want to fight about labels. You're the one that said that he had white supremacists working for him.
Hold on, slow down. I'm not sure what that means. I know that it's a slur. It's the worst thing one can be. I don't really understand the terms, but let me just say,
you've had to let people go who said objectionable stuff.
Slow down, Ben. I believe that people are not defined by their race, any race, black, white, Asian, pick a race.
Yeah.
People are defined, their value derives from A, the fact they were created by God. I believe that. Maybe you don't. I do. And B, by what they do, by the choices they make, by who they are. They have agency. They're not, part of some larger group. They're individuals. I believe in the individual. And I say that virtually every night. Now, if you don't hear that, or if you, for whatever reason, want to claim that I'm some racist, I don't know what to say to you. I'm stating my sincere views as reflected in my personal life and my professional life as clearly as I can.
Do you feel that in your own career you've been kind of discriminated against as a white Protestant?
No.
And I ask in part because I had been told that Roger Ailes, and that you'd sort of at some point expressed that Roger Ailes, the former head of Fox, had a preference for Irish Catholics, and that it kind of held you back. Was that?
I've been held back. And by the way, I can say this sincerely, if I could, that I've never in my life been unhappy except because of self-pity. Self-pity is, I'm speaking for myself, but I think it's true for most people. Self-pity is the root of misery. And so I really try not to feel self-pity. I have no grounds for it anyway. I've had a wonderful life. I have an unusually happy family. I live where I want. I say what I want. I'm blessed, unlike a lot of journalists who are leading miserable lives. So but I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't feel I've been discriminated against. But I do believe in fairness, and I don't think you should ever hire someone on the basis of his race or sex. That's grotesque to me. It's a violation of the basic promise of the country, which is we're going to bring people from around the world who may look different, be from different backgrounds, but we're going to treat them all the same, which is to say specifically on the basis of their ability and their virtue, on the choices they make, not on the genes they have. That's Nazi shit. I'm against that.
Yeah. I fully agree with everything that Tucker Carlson's saying there. Watch Ben, the reporter. He is asking questions which aren't really questions, they're more statements. And while Tucker Carlson is answering, he's not listening at all. He's not trying to hear Tucker's responses to his questions. All he's doing is sitting there waiting to ask the next question. This isn't a conversation. This is a journalist making statements. Tucker is trying to respond to the statements, and he's just waiting for Tucker to shut up. And often he's not waiting for him to shut up because he's constantly trying to interject. He's just waiting for him to stop talking so he can say the next thing that's written on the bit of paper, which will be another statement in which he doesn't care what Tucker's response to it is. This isn't an interview. An interview is a discourse between two people. It's having a conversation. And when it's just statement after statement after statement, that's not a conversation.
I'm serious.
Let me ask you about a different subject, which is January 6th.
And this is exactly what I mean. This isn't a conversation. He's just moving on immediately to his next. It'll be kind of a question, which of course will be a statement. He just wants to make another statement and then not listen to what Tucker has to say about it. When you've got two people discussing a topic, person A says one thing, person B responds to that. Person A then says, oh, well, I agree with this and I don't agree with this. That's a conversation. It's like a ping pong match. It goes back and forward. But when the reporter is just making a statement, Tucker responds, makes another statement, Tucker responds. This isn't a conversation. This isn't an interview. This is, hey, I'm going to make a bunch of statements. You're going to try to rebut those statements. I'm going to talk over you, and then I'm going to move on to my next statement.
And I think...
Well, no, I kind of like this stuff. You're not responding to me.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I'm not responding to you. I'm interviewing you.
Does that sound racist to you? You've just suggested I'm a white supremacist.
You know, I found that clip disturbing. I think the language of replacement theory, which you've popularized, the language of replacement theory is like specifically the language used by neo-Nazis to recruit people to their cause. What? It has been, obviously, I'm not suggesting some straight line between words and actions, but it is the phrase that has been used by mass shooters. I wonder if you don't have any compunction or regret about popularizing that?
This is why you are considered correctly a propagandist and not a journalist.
Yep.
Because I just explained in detail, with total sincerity, what I believe. You ignored it and invoked mass shooters.
Yeah.
So that's not what you just did.
I asked you how you felt about it. I actually do want to ask you about something. I'd like to ask about something that actually I think we probably have more common ground on.
How ridiculous you are, and I think it's evident to any fair person watching.
I guess I'm trying to give you an opportunity to respond to things that have been said and written about you. But let's move to something. But I'm really not looking to have a.
Does this sound like a racist ideology? And you're like, I'm disturbed by the Media Matters clip for 8 seconds. Like, are you being serious?
So that's the end of the clip that is on TikTok. That's what I wanted to watch with you guys. I'm not sure if the full interview is out there somewhere. I'm sure it is. If you guys want me to watch and react to and respond to the full clip, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll definitely do that. That was one of the harder videos for me to watch. I found the reporter very rude. This was not an interview in which he was genuinely asking questions to get an answer, and then he can kind of come back with something, and then Tucker responds, and because that's how an interview works, that's how a conversation works. But all he wants to do is use buzzwords. He wants to make accusations. He wants to make statements. And then when Tucker tries to talk, and he did it at the beginning a lot more than in the end, because Tucker was like, hey, can I answer the question? I don't know how Tucker kept his cool in this situation. I'm not in the interview conversation, and I was sitting here getting super frustrated. But he was talking over him a lot more in the beginning. And then at the end, it was just, I want to make this statement because it's going to outrage people. People are going to watch this, and I'm going to prove that you're this horrible monster. And then he's just waiting, and often not waiting for Tucker to stop talking so he can make another statement, he can make another accusation. It was really frustrating to watch. This isn't an interview. He's not a reporter, in my opinion. And yeah, I personally think that Tucker handled it in a way where even though the interviewer or reporter or whatever you want to call him was trying so hard to make Tucker Carlson look bad, I think it kind of backfired, and I think Tucker Carlson made him look bad. He wasn't interested in what Tucker had to say. He wasn't interested in the answers to the questions he was asking. It was just buzzwords and accusations left, right, and center. This was embarrassing to watch. I mean, I'm embarrassed for the so-called journalist, and I think Tucker handled himself well. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I always love hearing your feedback. So let me know in the comments. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing. I am desperately trying to get to that sweet 1,000 subscribers, my first milestone. It would mean the world if you could help me out doing that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.